Welcome to today's podcast. We're diving into the fascinating world of influencer marketing in Macao. Have you noticed how Macao is becoming a hot spot for brands and creators?
Absolutely. It's interesting because Macau has always been famous for tourism and gaming, but now influencers are really shaping its digital landscape. What do you think is driving this shift?
I think it's a mix of factors. The local audience is pretty active online, and brands want to tap into that. Plus, Macao's unique culture gives influencers a lot to work with, right?
Totally. And I feel like authenticity plays a huge role here. Local influencers often share real experiences, which resonates more with the audience than generic ads. Have you seen any campaigns that stood out to you?
Actually, yes. There was this food blogger who showcased traditional Macanese dishes at small family-run restaurants. It wasn't just mouthwatering. It helped those businesses get noticed too.
That's a great example of how influencers can support local culture. But I wonder, do you think international brands can succeed in Macao's influencer scene? Or is it mostly for local players?
It's possible for international brands, but they have to localize their approach. Just parachuting in with global campaigns doesn't really connect with Macao's audience. They prefer content that feels tailored to their daily lives.
Right? So no copy-paste from New York or London. I guess that means brands need to collaborate more closely with local influencers, maybe even give them creative freedom.
Exactly. And about creative freedom, I heard that influencers in Macao really value transparency. If a post is sponsored, they'll make it clear, which builds trust. Do you think transparency is as important elsewhere?
It's a global trend, but in smaller markets like Macao, trust is everything. News spreads fast, and people can spot inauthenticity from a mile away. So, being upfront isn't just good ethics, it's good business.
That makes sense. I also noticed that platforms matter. Instagram and Facebook are big, but have you seen any influencers using newer platforms in Macao?
I've heard that Douyin, the Chinese version of TikTok, is getting more traction. Short videos are incredibly engaging, especially for younger audiences. Have you seen any creative video campaigns lately?
Yes, there was a travel influencer who did a day in the life series showing hidden gems around Macao. It felt fresh compared to the usual casino images, and people loved it.
That's what I like about Macao influencers. They tell stories that go beyond the tourist brochures. But I do wonder, what are some challenges they face?
One challenge is balancing commercial work with personal content. If every post is an ad, followers lose interest, so influencers have to be selective about partnerships.
That's a tricky balance. I imagine there's also pressure from brands to deliver quick results, but real engagement takes time. Have you heard of any influencer who managed to grow their following organically?
Definitely. One lifestyle influencer started with just sharing daily routines and slowly built a loyal community. It took months, but the engagement is really strong because it's authentic.
That's inspiring. For brands just starting out in Macao, what do you think is the biggest mistake to avoid?
Probably choosing influencers based solely on follower count. Micro-influencers might have fewer followers, but a much more engaged audience. It's quality over quantity.
So true. I've seen brands chase big numbers and end up with little impact. It reminds me of choosing a restaurant. Sometimes the small, cozy places give you the best memories.
Great analogy. Also, brands should understand the local context. For example, certain festivals or traditions are important in Macao, and incorporating them into campaigns can really boost relevance.
Yes, like the Macao Grand Prix or Chinese New Year. Tying content to these events shows you know your audience. Do you think brands should always plan around festivals?
Not always, but it's a smart move when it makes sense. It shouldn't feel forced. Audiences can tell when something is just jumping on a trend.
Speaking of trends, have you noticed any new content formats or topics that are gaining popularity in Macao's influencer scene?
Sustainability is getting more attention. Influencers are sharing eco-friendly tips like reducing plastic or supporting local farmers. It's refreshing to see.
That's awesome. It goes to show that influencer marketing isn't just about selling stuff. It can also raise awareness on important issues. Do you think brands are catching on to this?
Slowly, Yes, some are collaborating with influencers on campaigns about environmental responsibility. It's a win-win because it aligns with audience values.
Agreed. Another thing I wanted to touch on is analytics. How do influencers in Macau measure their success?
Engagement rates are key, likes, comments, shares, and saves. But many also look at direct feedback from followers, like DMs or polls. It's more personal than just tracking numbers.
I like that approach. Sometimes, the best feedback is a heartfelt message from a follower, not just a thumbs up. It keeps things human.
Exactly. And speaking of keeping it human, I think humor is underrated. I've seen influencers use lighthearted jokes or relatable stories to connect with their audience. It makes the content memorable.
Humor definitely breaks the ice. It's like when someone tells a funny story at a dinner party. Everyone feels more comfortable. Brands should remember that too.
For sure. But let's not forget about regulations. Macau has specific guidelines for advertising and disclosures. Influencers need to stay updated to avoid any trouble.
That's a good point. Compliance is essential, especially as the industry grows. Do you think there's enough education for new influencers about these rules?
It's getting better, but there's room for improvement. Workshops and online resources are popping up, but self-education is still crucial.
Maybe that's an opportunity for agencies, helping influencers navigate legal and ethical gray areas. It could make collaboration smoother.
Absolutely. Agencies can bridge the gap between brands and creators, ensuring everyone's on the same page. But at the end of the day, relationships matter most.
Couldn't agree more. Building trust between brands, influencers, and audiences is the foundation for long-term success. Shortcuts rarely pay off.
Speaking of relationships, networking events are becoming more common in Macau. They help influencers connect, share tips, and even collaborate on projects.
That sounds fun. It's like a backstage pass to the industry. Have you attended any of these events?
I have, and they're surprisingly informal. Lots of laughter, food, and genuine conversations. It's not just about business, it's about community.
That's encouraging. Sometimes the best collaborations start over coffee rather than emails. Any advice for someone new who wants to join this community?
Be proactive and reach out. Most influencers are open to connecting if you're genuine and respectful. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself, even if you're just starting out.
Great advice. Also, patience is key. Success doesn't happen overnight, especially in a tight-knit place like Macau. Consistency and authenticity really pay off.
Absolutely. And don't forget to have fun with it. If you're enjoying what you do, your audience will pick up on that vibe.
That's so true. When content feels forced, it just doesn't land. But when it's authentic and fun, people come back for more.
Before we wrap up, do you think influencer marketing in Macau will keep evolving, or is it reaching a plateau?
I think it's just getting started. With new platforms and changing audience tastes, there's plenty of room for growth and innovation.
Agreed. The key is to stay adaptable and keep learning. What worked last year might not work tomorrow, so flexibility is crucial.
And maybe don't take yourself too seriously. A little humor goes a long way, both online and offline.
Well said. So to sum up, influencer marketing in Macau is all about authenticity, local relevance, and genuine relationships. It's a space full of opportunities for both brands and creators.
Exactly. If you're thinking about diving in, remember to focus on building trust, embracing creativity, and staying true to your values.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope these insider tips give you a fresh perspective on Macau's influencer scene. Until next time, keep exploring and stay inspired.
See you next time. And don't forget, sometimes the smallest voices make the biggest impact.